Any minute now, Chris and I are about to come face to face with some of the most famous robots since the Daleks. All the main characters from the Star Wars film are back in the sequel, The Empire Strikes Back, and we're delighted to welcome them to the studio.
Well, I don't think that R2-D2 needs any kind of introduction. Whoa, Goldie, careful there.
I'm supposed to hit the dog.
No, R2-D2, that's very nasty of you. Hang on, just stop.
Goldie.
But in this new film, he really does have some hair-raising adventures, including nearly being eaten by a monster lurking in a swamp. Well, now, in Star Wars, he was described, just because he keeps on breaking down, as a malfunctioning little twerp. Ouch! Sorry, R2-D2, but it was your very good friend who made that rude remark, C-3PO.
Hello, welcome. What a splendid robot. I don't think I've ever met someone so handsome. How do you do? Welcome to the programme. C-3PO is what you might call R2-D2's interpreter. And although he talks rather shakily, a little bit like a Dalek, he doesn't really speak in space language. And although they're both robots, they're rather more like crusty old men. They're a little bit tetchy and always arguing and falling out with one another. C-3PO gets attacked in The Empire Strikes Back, but luckily for him, another of the goodies is at hand. Hairy old Chewbacca, and he comes to the rescue.
And it's just as well that he is a goodie, because Chewie is enormous.
He certainly is. I'm pretty tall, but he absolutely towers over me. And in fact, there are only 3 people this height. That's 7 feet, 2 inches, or 2 metres, 36 centimetres in the whole of Britain. Is it cold up there?
Well, I'm very pleased that Chewie is here to protect us, because there is a sinister baddie lurking around by the name of Darth Vader, who is known in real life, of course, as David Prowse, who between 1962 and 64 was the British heavyweight weightlifting champion of undefeated of Britain. But in the film, of course, he leads the forces of darkness in their quest to take control of the galaxy.
I think I want to go home.
And watching that hair-raising sequence with me are none other than Princess Leia herself, otherwise Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, alias Luke Skywalker. Mark, welcome back to Blue Peter.
Thank you.
Carrie, welcome to the programme for the first time.
Thank you.
Carrie, tell me, what was it like acting with robots?
Well, it's a bit like acting with people, really, very, very human. I mean, some people are very robot-like and some robots are very human-like, so it was easy.
Yes, they've got some smashing personalities in the film, haven't they, from the robots. What was the hardest part of the film for you?
I think probably the carbon freezing chamber, which it says freezing, but it's actually very hot. It was about 100 degrees, and I'd sort of embrace Chewbacca, the Wookiee, and after about 2 hours in a lot of heat like that, he doesn't smell so nice.
Mark, I know filming takes a very long time, and a lot of the early part of The Empire Strikes Back is out in the snow. It takes place in
That's right. We filmed it in Finse, which is in Norway.
Yes.
It's between Oslo and Bergen, and we all sort of wished that we had Chewbacca's costume.
I bet you did. I bet you did. What did you do to keep warm? What were the kind of things that were provided for you?
The camera would freeze up. The film wouldn't go through the camera properly. It was just bitterly cold, and it's the kind of cold where it almost feels hot. Your face feels...
Almost burning.
Yeah, it stings, and you have to be very careful to cover up and take it off just for the shot and then get right back into the warm.
Get back on. And how long did the filming of the whole film take?
For the actors, the longest that anyone worked was 8 months, but the special effects people start working before we start. And they finish after we finish.
Because there's some tremendous effects in the film.
Yes, and they take a long time to shoot those things.
Yes. Will you be making any more of the Star Wars films together?
One more.
We do one more, right.
One more.
The name of it is...
The Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge of the Jedi. And Paul's looking forward to it, I know. And I am too, because we finish off the trilogy, then we go back 20 years, and we do the story of young Darth Vader and the young Alec Guinness character. And in the 3rd film, which precedes Star Wars, you see.
Like a prequel.
That's right. Luke is about 5 or 6 years old, so I don't know, maybe one of your Blue Peter viewers will be up for the role.
I have lots of people wanting to audition
That's
now,
right.
I'm sure. That's wonderful. Well, Mark, when you appeared on Blue Peter in 1977, that was your first appearance on
with the St. Bernards,
television.
yeah,
That's
the
right.
little dogs.
With the dogs,
yes.
In Britain. And thank you very much for coming back and
it's my
talking to us
pleasure.
today. And thank you too,
Thank
Carrie.
you.
Actually, before you two go off, if we may, we'd like to give you a very small present. These are 2 copies of the very first edition of our Blue Peter Book of Gorgeous Scrub. And half the proceeds of the book are going to Cambodia. It's absolutely packed full of recipes, which are favourite recipes of our Blue Peter viewers, but there's one on page 57, which I think you two would find particularly interesting. It's called Star Wars Stew, and it was sent in to us by 8-year-old Elspeth Bruford of Edinburgh, and she says that she and her family called it this because it was invented when they wanted a hot meal waiting for them when they came back from seeing your film Star Wars.
And now's your chance to actually taste them, because we've got some here, Carrie and Mark. I'm assured it's piping hot. It certainly smells delicious.
It's the most wonderful mixture, I assure you. It's a mixture of sausages, baked beans, onions, tomatoes, sweet corn, chips, potatoes, and cheese. I don't think that's a week. Eat for 3 weeks after you've had one of these.
We've got serving spoons, no less.
The rebels' favourite meal.
Carrie, you're the first to brave it. What's it like?
Well, see, they don't usually feed us in space. And Mark, you get to eat. We're so busy escaping Darth Vader. that
I
we
only
don't
get
eat.
Yoda stew. I've never had Star Wars stew before.
Well, I tell you what, I bet when Carrie sent this, I mean, not Carrie, I'm sorry, when Elspeth sent this recipe in, she never dreamt that Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker themselves would be eating it. I'm sure she's absolutely thrilled. We won't be back on Monday because, of course, it's the bank holiday, but we will be back a week today on Thursday, and we'll have another world-famous personality with us, Robin Cousins.
And we'll all be kneeling down on the studio floor, putting together a 1,150,520 piece pavement.
So we'll see you Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.